Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. In this brief video, I'm going to talk about how these things work, and I actually drew out the schematic for this thing, if in case anyone's interested. It is the Morley Hum Exterminator. I picked this up because I was getting a little bit of low-level ground hum in my rack unit, which I'll show you how it's hooked up, but I wanted to go over how this thing actually works. It's actually a pretty clever circuit, but these are extremely expensive for what they are. I'm going to start off basic, use this little graphic that I found on the internet, and this basically explains what a ground loop is. You have the common earth ground pin here shared by two different devices, and then it is created by connecting their signal grounds together, and the signal grounds are bonded to earth ground here in each of these devices, but as a result, because it's got multiple paths back to common earth ground, now you're getting these small circulating ground currents that are creating that hum 60 hertz buzz that you normally hear through your speakers. Some of the options, you can either use an isolation transformer of some sort to break the ground loop here, and that would solve the issue. Or if you don't have the ability to do that, then you have another way to isolate the earthing pin from your signal ground. Because in each one of the devices here, signal ground is tied back to earth ground at one point in each of these devices, and that can never be broken, because if you were to say lift one of these pins here using one of these cheater adapters, they call them, where it takes the 3-pin and it breaks the 3rd pin, and now you just have your hot and neutral. Well, yeah, that'll solve the ground loop. That'll stop this from happening. But now you got yourself a dangerous situation. If this were to internally short, well, it's not going to be able to short that current back to earth, and you're going to get shocked. If you touch that with your hands, it's going to go through your hand, through your body, through your feet, back to earth, and you can get a pretty nasty shock. You don't want that. So there's a better way to do it. So we all know that we can't use one of these to go and fix our ground loop buzzing problem. I have used it in the past to find the ground loop, but now this is not a permanent solution. Obviously, we don't want to use that. Now comes in this device, and here is the schematic that I drew out on how this is wired. Now, as you can see, I've taken this apart to show you, but let's take a look at this. So we have the receptacle here, and then we have the plug here on the other side. We have neutral, hot, and then your earthing pin. The neutral is passed between the receptacle and the plug without anything in between. On the hot side, we have from the receptacle through a 6-amp fuse, which is right here, right? And that goes over to the hot pin of the plug. That makes sense. So you're limited to 720 watts or 6 amps of current on 120 volts. We then have a little LED here, which is right here, and then you got a little 82K kilo ohm resistor connected between the receptacle hot and the plug neutral. So in the event that this fuse pops, well, that LED won't light up anymore. Pretty easy, right? This is where the magic happens. And actually, I just realized I did not complete this schematic here, because I actually thought it was wired a little differently. This is where the magic happens. We're using these two large diodes here, which I believe are 6A10, which 6 amps of current, 1000 volts. And what they're set up for is one is going one way and the other one is going another. This is what is called anti-parallel. It means it allows current to flow one way and also the other way, so both ways, between the earth pin of the receptacle and the earth pin of the plug. This is where the magic is happening, guys. This is what is essentially stopping the signal ground from interfering with the earth ground through the second device or multiple devices that you have connected together, because that's what's basically happening. These diodes do not conduct any voltage or current until the current or voltage that is going across them goes above the forward drop voltage. Now, what that means is, say, for example, ideally we would have 0.7 volts here going across this way or going across that way before these diodes start conducting and completing the circuit to ground. Now, most of the ground loops that you're going to get are less than the forward drop voltage. All that means in layman's terms is that, say I'm going to use 0.7 volts here as an example, because most diodes are rated at that value. Some of them are different. But forward voltage drop means that this voltage has to be above this value in order for these diodes to start conducting any kind of current in either direction, since you have one that goes this way and the other one goes the other way. In the event that it goes above this voltage, forward voltage drop value here, then it'll start conducting between the earth pins. Now, if you get a fault at 120 volts, well, then this is going to conduct current right back through your earth pin like it should for safety, and it will either pop the fuse or it'll pop your circuit breaker that your equipment is plugged into the outlet. Now, most ground loops that with that nasty 60 hertz buzz or 50 hertz, if you live in the UK there, for example, is going to be below this forward drop value. So we are essentially saying that the earthing pins are an open circuit to any of those ground loops at this level or below. And we'll measure what that drop value, forward drop value is here in just a moment, but it's a very clever circuit. It's essentially isolating the earth ground from your signal ground of your devices so that you don't get that 60 hertz buzzing and those ground currents circulating. So here's the example of the forward voltage drop of what I was describing before. We're looking at a value of 0.485 volts, or in this case 485 millivolts, between the two ground pins. Now, if I were to switch these over, now we're getting a slightly different value of 0.497 because now we're measuring across the other diode, because the other diode is blocking and the other diode is conducting for that voltage drop. We have protection of any ground loops up to, say, 486, 497 millivolts of ground hum before these diodes start conducting. That's more than plenty for any kind of ground loop, and it is not lifting the ground loop, it is isolating it. Very interesting, yet very simple circuit. Here's a detailed gut shot of the inside. And again, there's not really a lot going on here, guys. There's your fusible link there between the hots. You have your jumper between the grounds and the neutrals. And then we have just a simple LED with a drop resistor, 82 kilo ohms. And we have the two anti-parallel diodes. Now, there's no markings on these things, but my guess is that these are 6A10s, because if they're going to use 6 amp fuses here on the other side here, then they might as well use 6 amps or higher for the diodes. Now, I always carry this in my gig bag. This is a simple outlet tester, and what I'm always looking for are these two amber lights to light up to make sure that my neutral, my hot, and my earth pin are all wired correctly. So I usually do this. I see that we have a properly wired outlet, and the middle amber LED here is signaling that there is a proper earthing ground connector at this outlet. And to prove that this does not lift the ground, safety ground on your device, you see that the light is still on. However, as we had mentioned before, this isolates the earthing pin from the signal ground of your devices so that none of those circulating ground loops happen below those diode forward drop values. So that's basically how these devices work, and there's even another version of this over in the UK and Europe. It's called the HumNo, and it's basically the same exact thing as this, which works out a lot better for a lot of applications here. Now, I spent $89 and free shipping from Sweetwater on one of these. That is insanely expensive for what is found inside these things. Now, you could make one of these for about $25 or so using some basic parts that you can buy off of Amazon. I did buy it out of the convenience. I thought of actually returning it after looking inside the guts here, but it is highway robbery of how much they cost, but they do solve the ground issues that you often run into with your equipment. This is the HumNo that I was talking about, which is basically a different form factor of this. The circuitry in this box is the same in that box. The only difference is that they have male and female IEC connectors on each end there. And hey, this is a frequently returned item. Well, probably because it doesn't always solve every single ground loop issue out there. But I made a cart on how to build one of these things, and I came up with $32.26. Now, that's only because you have to buy a pack of 5 of these fuses here. You only need 1 of these fuses, so you split that out, and then you get an enclosure. I found the smallest one with some cable glands. Comes in a 2-pack. I went with 20 amp 1000 volt diodes. You don't have to use these. You can find the 6A10s, the smaller ones. But what's more important is that you put in a little 10-cent glass fuse that's rated at, say, 6 amps if you want to match the same rating as the wall wart one here in my hand. And finally, we have an IEC connector, male to female, that I'm just going to hack in the middle and then put that inside that box. And then I essentially have what the HumNo is for a hell of a lot cheaper. Now, this is much cheaper to build, but it's a matter of convenience for what these things cost. They don't always fix every single ground loop issue, but they do solve quite a bit, and they are proven to work. Here's the hum eliminator in my power conditioner, and it goes to a 3-foot cord to a multi-tap, which is connected to the SansAmp RPM here and the Korg tuner there. Those are the only devices in my rack unit that have a reference to earth ground. Here's a better picture of the rack unit that I use, which I'll probably do another video in depth of it at a later time. But I'm also using these HumFrees. These are basically plastic grommets that isolate each one of these devices from each other, because you can also get a ground loop from the rack rail mounting as well. And these HumFrees actually prevent that, plus some insulating tape in between the two because they sit pretty close together. But between that and the HumX connected to these two, isolating their earth pins except during a fault condition, my amplifier that sits on top is the only one that has a direct path to earth ground without any filtering, and that has solved my ground hum buzzing problem completely. Well, guys, I'm going to end the video here. I know I went into a technical rabbit hole, but I really wanted this video to be about how these things work and why they work so well for the given application. Yeah, they are crazy expensive for what they have inside them, but they do work, and you can build them for about a fraction of the cost if you have that mechanical ability to do so. And maybe I'll build one in the future just for proof of concept. But if there's any questions on how these ground filters, I guess I'll call it, work, then please leave a comment down below. Thank you guys so much for watching and supporting my channel, and we'll see you on the next project.